All right, so this week we've been looking at adding and subtracting integers with different strategies. We looked at with a number line, we looked at with average tiles, whether I gave you some one day to physically play with, and then I also taught us how to draw some. We also have rewritten subtraction problems as adding the opposite, where we keep the first number, we change the subtraction sign to an addition sign, and then that second number becomes the opposite. Well, today we're going to begin to look at the standard algorithm of adding and subtracting integers. So I'm going to give you about 3 to 5 minutes to get these steps at the bottom. You should have your paper and pencil and your necessary materials. I'll give you a few minutes. I love how we're meeting those expectations this morning, fellas. Good job. Good morning, Takivian. Right now, students are copying notes, these 4 steps that you see on the board. So I'm gonna continue giving you a few minutes to get those notes down. And then of course, we're gonna talk about it and try some problems. Brian, right now they're copying these 4 steps in your notes. So hopefully you have your paper and pencil with you this morning. And I'm giving you a few more minutes to go ahead and get these notes. Good morning, humans. You should have your paper and pencil. Good morning, Terrell. Right now, students are copying these 4 steps into your notes. So you should have our math notebook with you, and you can go ahead and get these 4 steps titled Standard Algorithm to Add and Subtract. Give a few more minutes. right, I'm gonna give you about another 1 minute. All right. So the standard algorithms of adding and subtracting integers will pretty much be used when we get those large numbers that we can't put on the number line because it'll take too much time, and then we can't draw out because it'll take too much time. So the first step will tell us we're going to rewrite the expression with one sign in the middle of that expression. So we're going to be reminded that subtraction is the same as adding the opposite. If we remember that, it'll help us rewrite it. The second thing we're going to look for, if the values have the same sign, as in if we get two positive numbers or two negative numbers, we're going to add the values and keep the sign. If we have the same sign, we're going to add the values and keep the sign. An example of that would be 7 plus 3. You all have been looking at numbers like that since maybe about kindergarten. So when we see 7 plus 3, we can easily say, okay, we're going to add the two numbers together to get 10. If they were two negatives, it would be the same. If we have -7 plus a -3, once again, we're going to add the values. 7 and 3 will give us 10. And since both of those are negative, that means 10 will be negative. So that's what that means when it says if the same sign, we're going to add the values and keep the sign. The third thing told us if the values have different signs, as in one being positive and one being negative, we're going to subtract the values like normal, meaning the biggest number on top, and we're going to subtract. But we're going to take the sign of the larger number. So if we have two different signs, add or subtract, positive or negative, we're going to subtract the values and take the sign of the larger number. Example, if we had -7 plus 4, we can easily look at -7 plus 4 and see that they have two different signs. 7 is negative, 4 is positive. So in the back of my mind, I just need to know that I need to subtract the value. 7 is the largest, so we will put it on top. And then I would say when 7 minus 4 would give me 3. Then I would go back and ask myself, which is the largest number? And in this problem, 7 is greater than 4. And so 7 is negative. So that means the answer choice of 3 would also be negative. So that's what that means when it says if the signs are different. So if same signs, we add, keep the sign. Different signs, we subtract and take the sign of the larger number. The fourth thing told us, if you are given a problem with 3 or more numbers, group the positive values together and then group the negative values together. And they give us too many that we just can't focus on. Any questions about those steps and how we are about to use those to work some problems? Any questions about it? All right, does everybody have what you need?
I'm still right.
Okay, let me know when you finish.
I'm still right. I'm finished.
All right, is anybody else still getting something?
Yes.
Okay.
In progress.
Good morning, Travion.
Good morning.
I got some charges of 3 of them. You want them? Yeah, I got no read. Thank you. Thank you.
Finished.
All right, so hopefully you got your notes, and you know me, we're gonna use those notes to look at a few problems. All right, the first example we're gonna look at, it reads, Amy, Ray, Kim, and Jamal are on a trivia team. They gain points for correct answers and lose points for incorrect answers. It says, during the contest, Amy gains 3 points, Ray loses 4 points, Kim loses 2 points, and Jamal gains 5 points. It then asks, how many points does the team have at the end of the contest? Somebody unmute and give us some keywords and information.
During the contest, I gained three points, and Ray loses 4 points, and Kim loses 2 points, and Jamal gains 5 points. And underline how many points does these teams get at the end of the contest.
Good morning, Kaiser. I think that was you. All right, thank you, William. And when we have a scenario when dealing with adding and subtracting integers, one rule of thumb is to go ahead and write the value that that amount will represent. So looking at this problem, gains, what number would gains be, a positive or a negative?
A positive.
Positive.
So that means
A positive.
it would be the negative. So when it said gain 3 points, I'm gonna write that as a positive 3. It said lose 4 points, minus 4. It then said lose 2 points, minus 2. And then it said gain 5 points. So notice we wrote that expression just as what they gave us. I didn't add in any extra signs. I didn't say, well, I'm gonna add this and then put a negative 4. No, gain 3 points, lose 4 points. So just minus 4. Try not to get in the habit of trying to put double signs. Just write it as they give it to us. Any questions so far?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
All right. You then should recognize that we now have 4 numbers. You may be just used to adding or subtracting 2 numbers, but now we have 4. So one way to help you easily do that, or to do it with a little bit of math, is to group those positive numbers together and to group those negative numbers. So looking at this expression, what are our positive numbers?
3 and 5.
Good job. So we're gonna group 3 and 5 together. What are our negative numbers?
3 and 4.
4 and 2.
Negative 4 and negative 2.
Well, negative 4 and 2.
You can tell if it's positive or negative based on the sign in the front. So now we have negative 4, which is going to be added to that negative 2. All right. We just learned that if the 2 values have the same signs, we're just going to add the 2 numbers and keep the sign. So 3 plus 5 will get us what?
8.
Good job.
8.
And then negative 4 plus negative 2 will get us to what?
Negative.
Good job. Negative 6.
Negative 6.
Good morning, Devontae. Try to get up a little early. All right. So notice when we wrote negative 6, I didn't put no additional sign with it into that expression. we wrote it as the 8 that we got from 3 plus 5, and then just minus 6. So now when we look at 8 minus 6, what answer will we get?
2.
Would that be positive or would that be negative?
Dang.
Pass.
Good job. That would be a
Yeah,
positive.
positive.
And it looks like what you've been looking at since lower elementary. And so we'll find when they look like that, just go ahead and do that simple computation that we remember from then, which will give us 2 points. So this team gained 2 points. Any questions?
No, ma'am.
All right, does everybody have what you need?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, let's look at this problem. It says, Allie wants to make bracelets to sell at a craft fair. She borrows money from her sister to buy beads and cord. Allie spends $8 on supplies. At the craft fair, Allie makes $17 selling her bracelet. How much money does Allie have after she pays back her sister? And this scenario had quite a bit of things going on. Can someone help us pick out the important information?
Okay, she had borrowed some money from her sister to buy the beads and the cord, and she spent $8 on the supplies. And then after craft fair, she makes $17. $17 and then she gotta get her. Then I want to know how much money does Ellie have after she pay back her sister.
All right, thank you. All right. She borrowed some money. We know she spent $8 and then she made $17. What kind of expression can we write?
Subtract. Not for sure.
All right, William, I see you questioning a subtraction. Which one is you saying a subtraction to?
How much? Oh.
Go ahead, it don't matter.
I thought. Well, he can go ahead and go. I'm still thinking myself.
All right, so go back to those key words that you all picked out. You said spend $8 and make $17. So think about yourself. If you spent some money, would that be added to you or would that be taken away from you? Good job, now be subtract. So we have -8, and then they said she makes $17. So what would that be?
Subtracting, you'll be taking away.
All right, now let me tell you this. When we use the terms add and subtract, it's not used
addition.
At this level, you will find that they kind of get rid of the terms add and subtract. And so once you pick out the value of that number, if it's positive or negative, that's what will help you determine if you're going to add or subtract your expression. So we have a -8 for supplies, and then we made $17, so that's just going to be a +17. So now when we look at those two numbers, do they have the same signs in front of them or do they have different signs?
Different.
All right, good job, different. In your notes, what did we say about different signs in your notes? All right, you should have that we're going to subtract the numbers, and then we're going to take the sign of larger number. Okay, William, you good. These have different signs. We got a -8 and we got a +17. So when we say subtract with different signs, we're going to subtract like we normally would. Out of those two numbers, which one is the largest, 8 or 17?
17.
17.
Good job, 17. So when we subtract, we're going to subtract just like you would when you in lower elementary. 17 is going to be on top. So if we do 17 minus 8, what value will we get?
No.
Good job. We'll get 9. So then the second part of that told us to take the sign of the larger number. So when we go back to this original expression, 17 is clearly larger than 8. So then we ask ourselves, what sign was in front of 17, which is a positive? So that means 9 will be positive. So after she paid back her sister, she now has $9.
$9.
Any questions about it?
Yeah, writing it down.
He lagged.
Yes, but I think he said he's still writing. So William, let me know when you finish if you can.
Finished.
All right, fellas, I'm gonna give you 30 seconds to a minute to have a look at this problem. All right, I'm now going to read it. It says the table shows the highest and lowest elevations in Louisiana. What is the difference between the elevations? Was anyone able to write an expression for the difference between the elevations?
$535 minus 8.
All right, did anybody have a different expression?
No.
All right, now let's stop and see. They said difference. We know difference go with what operation?
Subtract.
Good job, that's subtract. So William, I do agree with the 535, and we're going to subtract because it said difference. But what is your second number? Is your second number 8?
Yeah.
You sure that second number is 8?
It's negative 8.
Good job. Negative 8. So we would have 535 with a subtraction sign, but then we got a negative 8. So now that would take us back to what we looked at the beginning of this week with subtraction. Keep the first number, change that subtraction sign to an addition sign, and then that second number is going to become the opposite. So if we follow that procedure, what would be our next expression?
535 plus 8.
Good job, Charles. 535 plus 8. Now that looks like some things that we can do. Someone tell us what 535 plus 8.
543.
543. What did they count by? They feet. They gave us units, so we're going to add the units to it. Any questions about it? So when they have the number, when they say difference,
No, Mel.
when they say difference and then you have a negative value, do not forget that you're gonna end up with two of those signs. And then when we rewrite it, we'll get rid of those signs. Does everybody have what you need?
Yeah, bro.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm still right.
Okay, let me know when you're ready.
Yes, Mel.
Finish.
All right, fellas, I'm gonna give you about 30 seconds to a minute to read this problem and see if you can write an expression for it. All right, so I'm gonna read it to us. It says, Kelly's dad compares her running times in a marathon to her times for last year's race. Her records whether she has increased or decreased her time for the first three stages of the race. What is the total increase or decrease in Kelly's time? Did she improve her time? Explain. All right, was someone able to write an expression? All right. What was the value at her first stage?
4.
All right, so 4 in the front. What happened at the second stage?
-7.
So I'm gonna put just that, -7. What happened at the third stage?
-3.
So we just gonna write it as -3.
-3.
-3.
Good morning, Keaton. Let's try to be on time tomorrow, please. All right, so now we got 4 - 7 - 3. Do we have any of those three digits got the same sign?
7. Wait, no.
You're right, 7 and 3. Both of those are negative. So since they have the same signs, we're gonna add the values and keep the signs. So what's 7 + 3?
10.
Good job, it'll be 10. And since both of those
10.
are negative, that means 10 would be negative. So now we have 4 - 10. Do we now have the same signs or do we now have different signs?
You got the same sign.
You sure that's the same?
I mean,
They got different signs.
you know what I mean? Yeah. Drink that water.
Okay, so you should now recognize they have different signs. Since 4 doesn't have a sign in front of it, it's understood to be positive. But 10 has a negative, so we have a positive number and a negative number. So we're going to subtract the values. What's 10 - 4?
6.
Good job, 6. And then we ask ourselves, which was the larger number, 4 or 10?
4. I mean 10. I mean 4.
Yeah.
10. On a standard number line, 10 is greater than 4. So we got
10.
So then ask ourselves, what sign is with 10?
What you say?
Negative.
If you look at the value of 10, what sign is in the front of it? A positive or
Negative.
a negative?
A negative.
So that means 6 would also be negative. So that's what we mean about subtracting values when they have different signs and take the sign of a larger number. So overall, she has -6. They then asked us, did she improve her time? Would you say she improved and she ended up with -6?
No.
No, ma'am.
No.
No.
Cause that's negative.
Good job. It's negative.
Negative.
So we would say -6. No, because it is a negative value. So when they give us 2 parts to questions, try to make sure we go back and answer every part that they give us. Any questions about this problem? All right.
No, ma'am.
Does everybody have what you need?
I'm still right.
Yes, Mel.
All right, William, let me know when you're ready.
I'm finished.
All right, I'm gonna give you about 30 seconds to a minute. Read the question and see if you can write an expression.
I have the expression.
All right, let me read it, Brian, and then I want to talk to you. It said at 7 a.m. the temperature in Wilton was -6 degrees Fahrenheit. By 8 a.m. the temperature was 2 degrees Fahrenheit. What is the difference in the temperature between 8 and 7? What you got for us, Brian?
-6 plus -2 equals -8 because -6 is greater than 2.
All right, did anybody try anything different? All right, now let's go back and have a look. We got -6, we got 2, and they said different. We know difference means subtract. When you normally subtract, what number go on top? The large number or the small number?
The large number.
Out of -6, out of -6 and +2, which one would be far to the right on the number line?
Negative.
-6.
Negative.
We got to find a larger number. Stop and think. If that's 0, 1, 2, -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6. Which one is closer to the right? -6 or 2?
2.
2. So that means 2 would actually be in the front. So we would have 2 minus for the word difference. So they said difference. And then what is that second number?
-6.
-6. So Brian, definitely watch and make sure we subtract it. You put that larger number in the front. So now we have 2 minus a -6. According to what we know about subtraction, we're gonna keep that first number, change to addition, and then take the opposite. So what would be our second expression?
2 plus 6.
2 plus
Oh shit.
And what is 2 plus 6?
8.
8.
Hey,
All right, now notice, Brian gave us -8, we ended up at 8. One way to help you determine if your answer is positive or negative, think about temperatures. Could a difference in the temperature be the -8 or the 8? And that'll pretty much help you determine if it'll be positive or negative, but that would be 8. At the bottom, they said Siri chose B. How do you think they ended up with -4? What could they have possibly been?
She didn't change the expression how we changed. She just did two minus -6 and -4 because she didn't change the what you call.
She didn't do 2 minus -6, but she did -6 plus 2. To get a -4. So definitely pay attention to how the problem should be set up. Go back and reread if you need to. Pay attention to those keywords. Really ask yourself, is that positive or negative? Follow those 10-second strategies. Any questions about it? All right. Everybody got what you need?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm still writing.
Okay. Let me know when you're ready, will you?
I'm finished. Hold on.
All right. Let me know when you're ready.
All right.
All right, I'm gonna give you about 30 seconds to a minute. See if you can read the scenario and write an expression and see if you can solve that expression you found. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and read it. It says the submarine is 50 meters below sea level. It goes up 15 meters, then goes down 40. What is the submarine's new position relative to sea level? Did anyone write an expression and you want to give it to them?
Okay, I wrote. Okay, first he started off. He was -50. Then he go up 15 meters.
What you did with going up?
And then he go back down 40 meters. And okay, I added -50 plus 15. And then after I got that, so I subtracted it by 40.
All right, what you ended up with?
Hold on, I'm still working it out.
Okay. All right, and when you get at that point, one easy way that may help you while you're working it out, to go ahead and group those numbers that's the same. Like -50 and -40. What is 50 plus 40?
90.
Good job.
90.
So that would be now -90 plus 15. So then I ask myself, do they have the same signs or different signs?
Different.
They got different. So when we have different signs, we're going to subtract like we normally would. Large number on top. And we'll end up with 75. Then we go back and ask ourselves, which of those was the largest number, which is clearly 90. And since 90 had a negative sign in front, that means 75 is also what?
Negative.
Good job. Good job. Any questions, fellas?
No, ma'am.
All right, well, they are finishing getting what they need. So today we went over adding and subtracting integers using standard algorithm. That does not mean that you still can't use your number line. You can still use your number line if you feel you need to, as well as advertise. However, when we get to these larger numbers, you may want to try to learn some of those standard algorithm rules. Any questions from me today, fellas, about what we've been learning?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
All right. It's Thursday. Have a good one. You got homework tonight. 3 questions.
All right.
All right.